So this is the interview in Vox between Sean Illing and Tom Rosenthal. And where I left off, he was talking about how Fox News is making it much harder for the vast majority of journalists who work in local newspapers, websites, and magazines who are trying to be engaged in checking facts to do their jobs, because Fox has turned the national image of journalism into a charade. And that makes it harder for people who are trying to do real journalism and inform citizens about the world around them. Sean Illing says, I don't want to let you go without talking about how CNN and MSNBC fit into all of this. I often hear people draw an equivalency between Fox and MSNBC in particular, but I don't buy it. MSNBC has an obvious partisan slant, but they don't appear to be in the propaganda business the way Fox News is. Tom says, I don't think the question is, are they exactly equivalent? They're not mirror images of each other, but the problem is that once you start to build an audience based on outrage and anger, as MSNBC and CNN are both doing in the age of Trump, you risk tumbling down a slippery slope, which is exactly what happened to Fox News. I don't believe that Rupert Murdoch set out to create Trump or to become a mouthpiece for the government. Their highest rated guy for years and years was actually Bill O'Reilly, who would strategically disagree with the Republican Party orthodoxy on certain things. I think that Fox News just gradually morphed into this over a long period of time because it made them money and because they got into bed with a political consultant, Roger Ailes. He's the one that started Fox News in a memo one day, and he put him in charge of their network early on. I lost my green screen for a second. But anyway, Roger Ailes is the one that created Fox News. And the problem is that MSNBC and CNN are building their networks on outrage. People hate Trump so much that they're watching to see their anger reflected back at them. And you can see this impacting the anchors who gradually start to fall into this role of venting frustration and disgust on behalf of the viewers. Sean says, do you think MSNBC and CNN are helping to normalize the Fox News model? Tom says, definitely. If you turn on CNN or MSNBC right now during primetime hours, what you're likely to see is partisan outrage and your model of what's news in this distorted thing. Is CNN in cahoots with Nancy Pelosi the way Fox News is in cahoots with Trump? No, but it's increasingly rare to find independent voices providing news in a dispassionate way. It just doesn't fit into the business model of news in this climate. The audience is dictating everything because we're all pissed off. Everything is fucking partisan right now because you have half of this country, not half, 37% of this country that believes things that aren't fucking true. How can you report on that dispassionately? Sean says, distinctions aside, what all three of these networks have in common is the commercial bias that is perverting their incentive structures. And I think it's turning news into a TV show governed by the laws of entertainment and spectacle. Tom says, you've said it better than I have. You know, a line has been crossed in this business when you're exploiting the news for commercial reasons rather than covering it. That's true. And all three are doing that now. What makes Fox unique is that they're doing it in a materially different way, using ideology as their form of exploitation. Sean, given all these trends, given the commercial success of Fox News and other cable news networks, where do you see all of this going? What's next? Tom says, it's alarming because in many ways, Fox and MSNBC have walked right into Trump's trap. When he says the press is the enemy of the people, they've built up their audiences based on anger or support for Trump, and now they're attached to it. I worry that, as I said, MSNBC and CNN are normalizing what Fox has done by being paler versions of it, and that it's going to take journalism years to recover. First, we have to have a different kind of political landscape, and then perhaps you'll see the networks follow their audience toward a more moderate pace, where we could just basically disagree again. Wouldn't that be fucking nice? But even then, it's just another form of pandering, and that's not what the news media is supposed to do. Journalism is in rough shape as it is, but if you have the televised representation of journalism turning it into this distortion, it makes it very hard for journalists everywhere else. We all sort of know what Fox News is now, but I really do worry that CNN and MSNBC are also helping to destroy journalism from within. There you have it. That's from Vox. Sean Illing.